Hi, class. Welcome to week two. I'm Dr. Burns. If there's anything that comes up in class, please feel free to email me or message me or text me even. My cell phone is in the syllabus. You can call, but a lot of students prefer not to call direct. If you need to make an appointment with office hours, please do so via email or text message if you have to. If there's any issues with technology, being late, or can't make assignments, like you haven't been able to log on, please let me know so that I don't count as an absence. If there's life happens, please let me know. In the group discussion, any type of issues that come up with between students, make sure we respect each other. We respect differences of opinion in class discussion. That has not been an issue in this class, but I just want to make sure that we respect each other for future discussions. This is an interesting class talking about marriage and family and theory and practice and working with relationships. It's a lot of fun. I do want to say that if you share something in the group discussion and it's personal, make sure it stays in the group discussion and you don't spread it anywhere else. Treat it like confidentiality and make sure we follow that respect guideline. If something comes up and you need help or an issue, please let me know. If there's something that you don't understand, because it's an asynchronous course, we do not meet in person. We only meet digitally. We don't really have a Zoom class where we meet. I'm happy to schedule a Zoom time if students would like to meet or have more discussion. I can schedule that and work that out. Please let me know, and I might pick a night where we can do that. It's optional. It's not required. But there's a lot of additional lectures that I'll be doing on here for video. The first week I know was kind of busy, so I didn't include that here, but I'm doing that for the second week and hopefully to clear up any discussion or stuff that comes up. Again, please review the syllabus. Please get all your work done. There is quite a few assignments because it is an asynchronous course. So for anything we don't have in person or have a meeting in person or online, it has to be made up in terms of assignments. So if you guys see or feel overwhelmed by a lot of assignments, that may be why. If you feel like you're getting behind in the course and you need more time on a certain things, please let me know and don't just ignore the assignments. Not that you guys have, but just to make sure for the future. So for the first week, I think it'd be really interesting, or the second week and starting the second week and finishing up the first, is I'd like to talk about the Four Horsemen and John Gottman. John Gottman is a theorist, or I should say he's a therapist that works with families and marriages. And he had really interesting. He's one of the single greatest predictors of a marriage would work, and he could listen to a couple talking, and he actually researched this, and he came up with these four things called the Four Horsemen, and I'm going to talk about those today. These four horsemen these are things to listen for, and one of the things you guys are training as social workers is how to listen in relationships. And these are great foundational things to start off with. And the four horsemen that John Gottman points out are criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Now, what is criticism? It's exactly how it sounds. You don't take out the trash, or you don't take care of this, or you're that. Criticism it can be negative. Contempt is more of communicating in disgust, in disrespect. Superiority is like, you're just like your dad. Like, that's not only putting the person's father down, or putting them down at the same time. This can be one of the single greatest. Contempt is one of the most dangerous ones, or the most alarming of the four horsemen. And then defensiveness. That is responding, and I would say how quickly it starts to accelerate, how quickly it turns into an argument, feeling attacked rather than a discussion. And the next one, and the last one, is stonewalling. That is where you might say in a relationship where this conversation is over, or hanging up the phone, or walking away from your partner, withdrawing automatically. These are the four horsemen, and he would look for these things, particularly contempt, as the most signaling of those four in a relationship. And I wouldn't say just married couples, but and he would predict if they would break up or stay together through those four prediction tools. Now, I'm sure that they were unique in how they were interpreted for Gottman, and you can look more into Gottman's research. And there is the Gottman Institute, and I highly recommend reviewing material with the Gottman Institute. It's really, really helpful. I've referred a lot of couples through some of their tools. But what are some of the ways to mend this? How would Gottman recommend? How do you attack this? For example, criticism. Rather than criticizing something obvious, using an I statement about how you feel or what's needed. Saying, hey, I feel I need help here, rather than you don't help me here. That's two different things. One is taking ownership, and it helps build more discussion, and it's also not attacking your partner. So really helpful. The next one is contempt. And the way they recommend kind of fighting that is build a culture of appreciation, respecting each other, and actively counter it, but build admiration for one another. Make sure you're coming at each other of a loving reproach, not a negative reproach. Defensiveness is taking responsibility. You want to defeat defensiveness by taking responsibilities for negative things in your relationship or marriage, and that can be really, really helpful. That's something that a lot of couples sometimes, especially after some time, in the beginning of a relationship, they might do very easily. But later down the line, we get our ego involved in pride, and that can be very, very hard to take ownership of mistakes that we make. Plus, if we do take that ownership, sometimes our partner can take that ownership that we took earlier and throw it at us later. That's throwing our past into our future, and that can be really, really difficult. And then stonewalling. Stonewalling is take a 15, 20-minute break and come back to it nicely and say, hey, look, I feel like if I talk to you right now, it's gonna accelerate and go negative. Can you give me 5 to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and we'll come back and let's calm down and talk about it nicely. Now, these are all the ways to try to undo those 4 signs. Doesn't mean it's always easy to do. Doesn't mean one can do it, but it's something to try. So that's one big topic for this lecture is stonewalling, criticism, defensiveness, and contempt. Those are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse from the Gottman Institute. So I would recommend that. I do like those. Those are very helpful ones to look more into. There's some other research that's focused on that. He did do a lot of research. I believe it's either 95 or 98% certainty he could predict if a marriage was going to stay together or break apart based on those things. So highly recommend you guys take a look at those. Another one just for this week's topic is, and this isn't so much research-based, but it's more of communication-based in dating. And a lot of times when people get together, whether they're married or just dating, they stop dating. It becomes routine, not something you try at. And so I always, and this happens a lot of times, and people go through their church and they go to premarital counseling. And a lot of times premarital counseling will discuss this about making sure you date your partner even after marriage, because sometimes it becomes routine. Life happens. You have kids, you have responsibilities, you have a job, and you forget to date your partner. But what does that look like? What are expectations in your relationship? And I have a good rule to follow for just suggestions whenever I have couples that are going through this. I call it the rule of 7. Every 7 days, go on a date. If you haven't gone on a date in 7 days, it means it's time to plan one. Every 7 weeks, do something together. Go out of town. Break the monotony. Go camping. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. And then every 7 months, go on vacation. Now, that's a stretch because sometimes people don't have vacation time, but find a way to feel like you're going on vacation. Even a staycation can be very nice. So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. But it doesn't mean that if you haven't done it in 7 months, you need to. It just means you need to start planning that. So if you haven't had a vacation in 7 months, hey, I need to plan my vacation for my family. I need to make time for my partner so that you feel loved, heard, and it starts instilling those values about appreciation, respecting one another, good communication skills. Because if you're overwhelmed from life happening, how can you really appreciate your partner? So, but if there's something that comes up during the week, that's pretty much, I wanted to discuss it. I would love to hear from all of you guys, either reaction to this. This is not required, but I would love to hear from you guys. If there's any concerns that come up, if you're not unsure how to navigate the class material or any assignments that come up, please let me know. And yeah, thank you so much. Happy to have you guys in class. Thank you.